My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is, if getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
It's been a long, bumpy ride sitting back in the saddle. It's time to get down, dirty up our knees into battle. Oh, come on, round up the boys, gonna make the walls rattle. Oh, our flag is tattered and our bones are shattered, but it doesn't matter 'cause we're moving forward. Round them up, let's go. Round them up, let's go.
And hello, what's up? What's up, Orty?
What's up? What's going on?
Well, Cyber Wars is on the air. So
are we now?
Yeah. So if you're not tuned in, you should be.
That's fantastic.
I know, right? If you haven't tuned in yet, you should.
Yeah. If you're not listening to us now, turn us on.
Exactly.
Yeah. How you been, Lou?
Pretty good. Not complaining.
Pretty good?
Yeah, not complaining. I mean, God knows everybody else seems to have that covered.
Right. Yeah. I don't have to carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. Everybody else is doing it.
Right. Exactly. I don't need to bitch about the world.
Right.
You guys have that covered. So
yeah.
I'll just go about my business.
That's why Twitter is quite cathartic, because no matter how messed up you think your life is, you just go on there and read the average liberal's tweets, and you're like, oh, wow, my life is sailing.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. At least I'm not offended by my neighbor's Trump flag.
Right. or
Biden sign or whatever it might be.
All right. Yeah. So election eve. Did you vote?
Now, of course I did.
Of course you did.
Of course I did.
I mean, we've only had a month to vote. Why wouldn't you?
Well, right, exactly. At least almost a month.
Yeah.
I assume that since you're going to be working, that you will vote while you work or something.
I actually, because I'm courteous and shit, and don't like, I don't want to make any extra work for anybody that they don't need. So I already voted just so that way somebody else who's got 120 other ballots, 200 other ballots to make sure are all I's crossed and D's, taking the weight off their shoulders. So I already handled it.
All right. Well, that's nice. That was nice of you.
Yeah, like I said, I'm courteous and shit.
Yeah, and shit like that.
And shit like that. Yeah. So I will be working the election tomorrow. We've got two voting machines that are my responsibility, and keeping them safe for democracy.
Awesome.
Ooh, a new email from Dr. Squatch just blasted in my ears.
Dr. Squatch.
It's the soap I use.
Oh, huh.
I just got an Outlook pop up really loud in my ears because I forgot to suppress notifications before we went live. So
there you go. Don't do that on.
Yeah, I got that little bell jingle from Outlook that just blew out my eardrums.
Nice. Gotta love it.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Gotta love that shit. So, so that's pretty much life as we know it right now. I will be, and I think it was Dawn that said this today, we are less than 24 hours from being free of election ads.
And I said we are less than 48 hours away from the 2022 election cycle. And I got ratioed.
You got ratioed for that?
I replied to Don with that, and everyone was just like, "You monster. How could you? How dare you?"
Well, I mean, I can see why they might say that to you, but I mean, the truth is the truth. So, but we are probably we're also less than 24 hours from the Antifa riot cycle, post-election riot cycle beginning, which we're not going to cover tonight, but I will say this. There will be some activist hacking that occurs over the next 60 to 90 days, I would imagine. I'm kind of expecting at least one significant one.
I think it's likely no matter who wins, because that's Antifa are black bloc communists, and they really don't care who wins. They want it all to collapse.
Yeah, their goal is chaos and collapse. Absolutely,
sure,
no doubt about that. But I mean, I like chaos too, but my chaos is cheeky and fun. Their chaos is mean and cruel, which right
isn't really shenanigans at all,
and destructive.
Yeah, it's just one long, never-ending temper tantrum.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And they'll be doing some of that, fit pitching online as much as they can. But, we're going to talk about some election-based hacking as soon as we talk about my favorite, SpaceX, Skynet. Or as it's really called, what is it really called again? Because I always call it Skynet.
Oh, Starlink?
Starlink,
yeah. No, this story got sent to me from Jeff. The Starlink satellite internet service from Elon Musk is they have moved from closed beta to open beta. And what they are calling it is the better than nothing beta test. it's kind of, they're trying to lower expectations with it. They say you may get between 50 megs and 100 megs, or maybe completely no internet for a little time. But anybody who's ever beta tested a video game or any kind of online software knows that in a beta test, shit's fucked, y'all. So
yeah, I mean, beta
you get really good service some of the time and really bad service much of the time.
Yeah, and just in general, beta is beta. It's not finished.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's better than alpha, and usually when they go into open beta, that's just before ready for prime time. Anybody who's ever played an early access game on Steam, you're really playing an open beta test.
Right, but bug finding is the purpose. So if you find a bug, in beta, that's kind of the purpose of beta. So.
Yeah, and one of the things in this whole press release and the accompanying information that I got is that, I showed this to another friend of mine, and he said, Elon Musk gets meme culture. He absolutely gets meme culture. Between the Better Than Nothing beta test, which, by the way, it'll run, what it's going to be costing is $100 a month for internet service up to 150 megabyte, and there's $500 upfront cost for the hardware, which if you've ever had satellite TV before where they charge you forever for the same equipment, being able to buy it outright is kind of nice. So
yeah,
that's not terrible. That's not terrible for internet anywhere in the world once it's a fully armed and operational battle station.
Yeah, I mean, I don't I don't pay quite that much for my internet, but it's not far off. And I would definitely be willing to try this. I don't think that the beta is in my area though. Isn't it it's still just in certain areas?
Yeah, it's still in the
Pacific Northwest.
Northern parts. Yeah, the last I heard, I don't know if they've moved farther south, they may have. But the last I heard, they had coverage down to the Washington-Oregon state line and just tracked that whole parallel. So, but yeah, you're talking about Elon Musk understanding meme culture in the warning section of it. For basic service and, if you have trouble, unplug the power supply. They refer to what was used to be referred to as the UFO on a stick. They now actually call that the Starlink, a.k.a. Dishy McFlatface.
Dishy McFlatface. I love that.
It's like I said, Elon really gets meme culture. So I was just fucking dying when I read that.
This is where you go, that has to be like the best company to work for.
Sure, totally. Oh, Jeff just posted a tweet and chat, too, from Elon Musk. Lower latitude states need more satellites in position, so probably January. The question was, what about Florida? So, not far. And that was just today that he tweeted that.
Alrighty.
So, not far off.
That's awesome. I would definitely try that out.
Yeah, if you're in the States, it's like, I'm paying a little bit less than that for 150. But to be able to own the equipment, point the thing at the sky, and then plug it in, or plug it in, then point it at the sky, whichever, it'd definitely be worth it. And I know some businesses in town who are in last mile and can't get better than DSL. They'd trip over themselves. This is a nothing cost to them. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. It's kind of the next step. It's definitely a next step in technology that you're like, oh, well, I don't know what took them so long to get here, but that could be cool.
Here we are.
Yeah, but here we are, and that could be cool.
But also, if you had signed up on their website for notifications, they have sent out emails to the next wave of beta testers, so check your inbox, and maybe it's at a latitude near you.
Nice. All right. So next up, we have everyone's favorite thing, internet trolls. But these aren't just, your usual left-wing trolls. these are or Q trolls or whatever, Twitter trolls. These are state actors. The thing that everyone loves to talk about, and there's a whole cottage industry that has popped up around troll tracking and identifying disinformation and misinformation and that kind of thing. And to be quite honest, most of the people who do it are really bad at it. The one guy in the Joe Biden story that we're going to do next, who I don't remember where he was from now. Singapore?
India.
Yeah. Okay. So, somewhere in Southeast Asia, he's probably one of the more clued in that I've read. But these guys that wrote this article that are from Clemson University are, not nearly as good. The first mistake that they made was focused.
You're talking about the firm that did the whole test
spot
on
the troll. Yes, they created a spot the troll quiz, but they are researchers in disinformation trolls, state sponsored troll farms, and so they say that this is their field of research now, and the biggest. I mean, there's so many problems in this article, and with their research, they are solely focused on Russia and the Internet Research Agency, as if there are no other troll farms or, state actors that use troll farms on the planet. And, my first thought was, if you're going to try to sprout a cottage industry off of this, you really need to do a better job.
See, and even the author of the article itself knew more than these Clemson researchers, because they were able to identify the other state actors beyond Russia. In China, the Norks, India, Iran. They talked about one troll farm that was just shut down in Nigeria, and so even the author knew more than these researchers.
Yeah.
And you're going to be, during this segment, Lou and I are going to be doing a lot of air quotes.
Yeah.
So feel for our air quotes, because we're laying them on thick.
Especially when we're using authoritative terms.
Yeah.
So, right. So, yeah, and you took the quiz. So tell us, because I didn't take the quiz. Tell us about the quiz.
I took the quiz, and a lot of it was just very generic, easy to spot trolls. Your basic Instagram trolls, your Katie Bell, if you know who Katie Bell is on Twitter, she's the one who, tell me what you're thinking while she's barely dressed. And, it's like, well, I'm thinking I need an STD test after looking at this picture. Anyway, so, very obvious. And yeah, I know that Katie's a real person. I'm sorry for any fans she has out there. I'm using that as an example. But a lot of them were very obvious. Very poor English and stuff like that. A lot of them, what they identified as Russian trolls, would be people that we actually know. Not a lot of their own original content, but a lot of retweeting others. Not a lot of interactions, frequently retweeting, their examples were like James Wood and Donald Trump and Trump Jr. I mean, we know these are real people. They're not just like troll, Macedonian troll farm, IRA troll farm. These are real people, but they attributed that to a troll category. And a lot of it was just based off of confirming their biases. And you could definitely tell, because they were so hyper-focused on the IRA, that they're not what you would call independent or libertarian. They are very... Yeah, they were biased in their.
There was some inherent bias, definitely, in what they were doing. And the most disturbing thing about this kind of, here come the air quotes, research, is that their parameters for what a troll or what inauthentic, which is their term for these types of troll farms and troll farm activity is inauthentic, their parameters for that make it into data sets that are used to train artificial intelligence or machine learning to identify bot accounts and troll accounts. So these erroneous parameters are really defining what these accounts are. And when we look at this other article about Joe Biden, that guy has much better parameters and ideas about what constitutes a troll from a troll farm. Well, he's from an area where many of them live,
right,
that these two guys seem to know absolutely nothing about.
Sure.
So he has a basis to know, kind of where they come from. But it's really dangerous for people like this to do research like this and feed those algorithms, and then like the whole field is skewed because
one person does shit data sets.
Yeah, or a handful. I'm
not saying one. I'm pretty sure there's quite a few groups exactly like this. It's a cottage industry now.
Yeah, there are quite a few that are just so biased, so focused on Russia. Just like they're all like a bunch of little shifts. They're like, if it's disinformation, if it's election interference, then it was the Russians, even if it was the Iranians. Well, it had to be the Russians. And what if the Russians? We haven't really even had any real information come out of, not anything drastic, come out of the intelligence community about what Russia has done during this election cycle. But we have heard about India, we have heard about Iran, and we have heard about China. And we've heard very specific things about those groups. And North Korea as well. We did this story a few weeks ago, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And we talk about it all the time. It's what we do, Lou.
Yes, but yeah, some people are so focused on it because this is the only other state they're the only state actor that anyone has any evidence or inkling have ever been supportive of the campaign of he who shall not be named, evidently.
Right.
So
yeah, and that's it. We've talked about this on several occasions with how easy the Macedonian troll farm and how easy the Ukrainian troll farms were to spot in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And now those accounts are seasoned to where we talked about where websites like Twitter Audit, don't use Twitter Audit, are very unreliable in being able to spot whether an account is a troll or not. But these guys think they got it nailed.
And couldn't be more
well, you just look at everything they say. It's just peppered with disinformation spreaders like QAnon, and I say it on Twitter all the time. The only people who talk about Q are liberals. It's their boogeyman. Well, and talking about COVID misinformation, and it's just. These guys are.
The first couple of sections of this article I was reading, and I got a lot of bias, toward wanting to research the Russians. And also, when they said things like, well, the Russians tried to hack Hillary's accounts, which is a dubious claim to begin with because it came out through like an anonymous whistleblower that ended up being
a low-level nobody at DHS.
Yeah, and exposed for being a hyper-partisan as well. So, that's a dubious claim to begin with. So I'm like, why are they saying this as if it's true? But then I got to the point where he says, in effect, internet trolls aren't engaging in espionage. They're practicing marketing, Linville says. No. It's as a individual trolls may be doing that. That may be their assignment, but as a group, they absolutely practice espionage. Absolutely.
Social engineering. You definitely through social engineering because it's like it's even gotten to the point that people that I've known on Twitter for years when they do one of those, your first name and your birth month is your sexy stripper name. Okay, you know what? That's social engineering.
Yeah, it definitely is. That is meant to.
It's a fun game. Don't get me wrong.
Well, most people do it not even thinking about it. But the people who create them and put them out there probably came from some state actor connected to some troll farm, and they're watching for responses because they will get when you throw out a net like that. Very little effort in the whole thing, and you'll get one or two good solid leads off of it, right? And they're behind,
which is actually because that helps build the dossier on you that we've talked about time and again is sold for money on the dark web.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're replying to a fun little game that your friend put out, but that's a low cost, high reward phishing expedition where somebody can now search Twitter looking for that particular quiz and can start to build a dossier on you. Orty Packard uses this and this, ergo, he's probably, we will put that into this dossier and then start to build it up from there. Oh, look, we found another website that he uses, and he talks about buying shit from Amazon. Listen to his radio broadcast. He just bought this. So, so it all goes into the net.
Yeah. And most people never clean their TLs, and that information is always out there. Somebody decides they want to dox you. They go back and look at all those old tweets, and boom, you're done.
Yeah.
I don't know that because I've ever done it. Wait, that's a lie. Anyway, so I've gotten plenty of people like that. Most doxes never get posted, like mine. My doxes never get posted. But yeah,
patch your shit in your TLs. No, but okay.
Clean your TL.
Enough with these researchers, because we wanted to use it as an example of like.
Yeah, and just
remember that one website that was going around that just had the absolute shit security where you'd find your troll rating. Remember that one? It was about this time last year.
Yeah, they're still out.
People were going for the lowest score possible.
They're still out there
with the likelihood that they were definitely a troll.
Yeah, that's Bot Sentinel.
Bot Sentinel, thank you. Yeah. But you see, this is the kind of shit data that makes the algorithms that determine those things.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a much better job was done by
Newsweek of all places.
Well, Newsweek did the story. The guy they talked to really knew a guy named Patel.
Yeah.
Wait, no, that's the Internet Cafe guy. I'll get to it in a second. I don't see it right off the top of my head. So, Joe Biden.
It's Zenger News Service did the initial investigation.
Oh, okay. Thank you. They talked to. Oh, okay. So, anywho, let's just do this.
Right.
Joe Biden's Twitter account. The day. Beginning in August, right around the time that he named Kamala Harris his running mate on the 12th, and I think this started around the 14th, 13th or 14th.
Correct.
His Twitter following jumped by 700, almost 740 new followers, which was a 9% leap for him.
In a day.
So, of course, that's going to raise some eyebrows, and the Zenger News Service did an investigation, and it revealed that the patterns on of the followers were pretty suspicious. There were a lot of accounts that were a lot alike and appeared to be a troll farm. So they investigated this, and they found that most of them seemed to be coming from India, or a good amount of them seemed to be coming from India. I think it was that 12% of them? something like that.
No. The 12 was actually in contrast, and one of the reasons why this threw up flags was that Kamala Harris, whose ethnic heritage is actually Indian, her share of followers that were from India was only 0.12%. So, you would think that would be switched. So this showed obvious purchased sock account activity. Mm-hmm. And the place that, we talked about earlier about how these sock accounts would be from Nigeria or Macedonia, where you could buy large banks of followers, and not just followers, but they would actually tweet, retweet you, interact. A lot of these sweatshops now have moved to India. And they're basically run out of New Delhi or Mumbai and then distributed out to even rural cyber cafes in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and that was another reason. When they did the geolocation on a lot of these accounts, they were in small towns in India. The Newsweek asked them, well, how do you know that it wasn't VPNs? And they were like, well, VPNs aren't like located in little rural towns. They're in big cities where data centers are.
The exit port is usually in a city, not some,
right, exactly.
8-hut village and,
not a lot
on the border of the Himalayas.
Not a lot of data centers in those places. So
no, not really.
Yeah, and so this is, I'm just going to jump to the best part. So the guy's name is Saikiran Kanan. He's a Singapore-based, so he was in Singapore.
Oh, that one. Okay, yeah, that was later. Okay.
An open source intelligence analyst. And what he says, and so full disclosure, the reason that I like what this guy says is because everything that he says is things that I do and things that I look for. So the reason that I like what this guy had to say in full disclosure is because he's like dead on with the things that I believe. So, take that as what it is. I like it because he agrees with me. Anyway, fake accounts, right. Fake accounts are identified by looking at combinations of attributes. Handles are an important thing. Now Twitter will auto assign a string of random numbers. If your name is not available, one of the options or a couple of the options will be the beginning of what you wanted plus a long string of random numbers. So one of the things that he says to look for is strings of random numbers. And there's two reasons for that. One is because a lot of these fake accounts are script generated. So, they'll just run an automatic script that'll throw out a bunch of usernames, and so they can plug it in through the API and get a bunch of accounts back. So they're getting a lot of handles with long strings of random numbers, but people can do that too. So that's why you have to look at combinations of things. A handle like that might look like it's a sock account or a fake account, but it could actually be a real person. So that's
they can put any number of important dates. So it's like I had a friend of mine who every screen name he used was his name plus the years that the Patriots won the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 43. So those numbers meant something to him. It may look like a troll to me, but those numbers. But it's you got to look at the totality of the data. Right,
and so. They'll never use a profile picture, probably because they're, it's a longer process, and if you need a bunch quick, then you don't really get to that. If you're scripting them, you might not be sophisticated enough to write that. There's a lot of reasons for that. Excessive duplicate tweets. That's could be bot activity, or it could be somebody that's got 100 accounts to manage, and sometimes they get lost in where they are, or duplicate tweets from account to account. So a troll farm account will have a lot of, they'll be grouped together as far as followers and following. They'll have a lot of troll followers. Most of their followers will be other troll accounts. Looking at followers and following is a really important thing to do. And they'll retweet a small number of people. The one reason, this is the one way that I discovered for sure, right, confirmed for sure, the Lincoln Project troll farm. They have, brand new low follower accounts that retweet nothing but the Lincoln Project, Republicans for Biden, and Lincoln Project contributors like Jen Rubin, Rick Wilson.
Bulwark.
Yeah, Bulwark. Nothing but that small, and it's just constant retweeting of just that small group of following. And, they're following plenty of other accounts. They're not retweeting any of them. They're only retweeting the Lincoln Project crowd. It's one of the most obvious troll farms I've ever seen. And it's pathetic.
What I liked in the story was, in the interview with one of the guys who was kind of a subcontractor, he said political parties are their clients. Even brands or celebrities who need a promotion, he said he's worked with them too. But, he doesn't pick them. He doesn't care. Word comes down from the agencies in Delhi. He said it's kind of like a pyramid scheme without the mid-level buyout. He said he's got 6 guys that work for him. They each operate about 200 accounts. They get their spreadsheet. They show what they did, what they tweeted, and then they turn them in, and then they get paid. This is a complete cash company. This is cash and carry. There's no, whatever. Yeah. And, when asked, how much he makes, he's all, I'm not going to give you the details, but myself and my 6 employees have a roof over our head. Our families are fed, and we don't have to worry about any, our children's school fees or anything like that. So there's significant money in it. And this is, like I said, this is one guy who's running 6 other guys who have 200 accounts between them. So there's 1,200 followers right there just coming out of this one operation.
And that was one reason that I said I feel like it way more than likely that the money is coming from China because of the layers between, it's almost impossible to track from what they said.
Sure.
How many layers in there.
Yeah, and this guy, he lives on a border, whatever, with, of the country. And a lot of his business, it used to be cyber cafes, but then when that died down, his whole thing is, helping people get, passport photographs or whatever to go over the border. And he retains those photographs because India has a law that a person is limited to 6 SIM cards. And because you can't get on Twitter without a cell phone, because you can't use Google Voice anymore with or Skype anymore with Twitter.
Right.
So he, when asked about it, he said, "Think about it. I'm taking people's photographs all day long. Yeah. So for passports, of course I have, do the math on how many SIM cards I can get."
Right. He's scanning IDs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so basically, it's like there's a criminal enterprise behind it, right? So it's like, it may not be criminal to troll on Twitter or on the internet because they're working cross-platform.
Sure.
But
Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah. So there may not be illegal to troll on these platforms, but he's definitely scanning other people's IDs and using.
Is that illegal in India? Who knows?
Well, apparently it's illegal to own more than 9 SIM cards,
sure.
And so I'm sure it's probably illegal to register one under someone else's name.
Okay, that's fair, but
right.
Once again,
so there is some criminal enterprise behind it, which
Oh, of course.
So think about risk and reward. That tells you right there that the money is good. Well, if you're a state actor paying someone to help you influence an election, then yeah, the pay is probably really good. So but that's all assumptions that I'm making, but I think in the ways that they determine where they're from, of course, we've all done this. Their language, the names that they used, their actual geolocation, if it's turned on, and it was turned on in about 30% of the cases, they believe. I believe that was, about 30% of the cases. Right, yeah. So if you add all of those things up and you take where they know the accounts are from or where they believe the accounts are from, somewhere around 80 or 90 of them were from India, which means that they were 80 to 90% of them were probably troll farm accounts.
Sure.
Probably. Not definitely, but probably. So, the other really interesting thing was that 30% of them were created on August 12th or later. So, this absolutely had something to do with
the Kamala Harris nod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, or at least, that naming the VP candidate being an opportunity to shine more light on the campaign, to bring more support to Biden, whatever. It was their opportunity. That date and time, that event was the opportunity that they took. Really crazy, huh?
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. We talked about it before the show, when we were kind of laughing about the other research agency. It's like, look, we've got this huge story from Newsweek, of all places, about, that doesn't come right out and say it, but basically says, oh, yeah, Biden bought nearly 1 million followers. So, it's... but we were talking about it before, and all the other with state sponsor, all the other countries that do it. I mean, you've got Russia, Iran, Nigeria, North Korea, China, and we had even thrown in K-pop stands into it too, because that's a directed effort.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They're not that those guys don't have stands, but I have no doubt it's purchase promotion to a great extent.
Yeah, you think Swifties are bad? Swifties are... Anyway. Yeah, I don't want to get hate mail. Let's just go to commercial before I finish that thought.
All right, we're going to go to break, and we'll be right back. We got hacks to talk about.
Hacks.
As a small business owner, you deserve more. More confidence, more connectivity, more of the tools that help your business thrive. And at Cox Business, you can expect more from us. We don't just have sales reps. We have perfect plan identifiers. People who will work with you to make sure your business gets everything it needs and nothing that it doesn't. Your business deserves more, and that's why you can expect more from Cox Business. Call 800-526-8572 to switch today.
There's nothing more predictable in life than the unexpected. Lightning will always strike. Hail will fall on roofs. Fortunately, there's AAA. AAA has been helping members stay prepared for over 100 years. So when unusual storms, fallen debris, or sudden leaks happen, you'll be covered. Check, check, and check. Get the home and auto insurance you need by talking with a AAA insurance agent today. Visit AAA.com/insurance or stop by your local AAA store.
If you prefer real mornings, shouldn't you have a real breakfast? At McDonald's, we get real about breakfast. That's why you can have a savory sausage biscuit with delicious hash browns for only $1.50. It's time to wake up breakfast. Single item at regular price. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Pack your things, leave somehow. Blackbird song is over now.
All right, we're back. I can't listen to that.
So chill.
Yeah, I can't listen to that song too long. It put me to sleep, and it's 10:47.
Hey, Rooster, I see you. All right, I see what you did to your screen name.
What did he do?
You changed it to G Rooster 757679800609. Yeah, I saw you.
Rooster's an Indian troll. All right.
Axe.
And I just would like to point out, because, you know, when I call something, I always want to make sure that everybody knows that I called it. It's about a month ago. I called this, that some of these people were Indians, because they have a style of trolling. They're actually very good trolls. They're happy warrior trolls. They're happy trolls.
Yeah.
They're actually very good trolls. So, I know.
Somebody pick up that phone because she fucking called it.
Yeah, pick up the damn phone. So, anyway, but I mean, you know, it's like everybody else gets so angry when a happy troll comes along. It's kind of, you notice. So,
yeah.
Anywho.
Yeah.
There's plenty of...
They're like me, but worse English.
A little bit. So, speaking of angry, a 20-year-old dude.
Oh, God, this guy.
And, of course, it was a Florida man, right? Because these guys are always in Florida. Hacked into the Florida voter database and changed Governor Ron DeSantis' address and access records.
Yeah, for his voter registration. So that way when he went in to vote, which I'm probably sure that, like every politician, he made a big deal out of, I'm going to vote. So that's when he found out his address had been changed. The thing is, when you do that to a governor, they have an entire arm of government to bring a hammer down on you with.
Yeah. Yeah, and he also did it to Michael Jordan and LeBron James, which I didn't know that Michael Jordan voted in Florida.
And Rick Scott, too.
Right, I'm sorry. Oh, so he got the senator, and so, yeah, dude's in some trouble. So, I mean, he would have been in trouble anyway, but, you know, going after the senator and the governor was pretty stupid. His name is Anthony Guevara.
Of Naples. Yeah, you know what? I'm pretty sure he's going to get off because once authorities showed up at his house, he showed them exactly how he did it.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, it's not like he tried to keep it low key or anything like that. He's like, yeah, I fucking did it. Here's how I did it.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to get off. He'll have some penalties, but yeah,
and then he's going to get his compulsory service into the cybersecurity department of the state of Florida.
Possibly. Yeah. That's
which will turn into a very lucrative career for him.
That happens a lot. So, yeah.
God damn, that's a big Call of Duty ad on this website.
Right? Yeah. And it like don't move your mouse because it would.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that earlier. That's why I loaded the meat of the article and it just left it.
Right. Daily Mail.
But Daily Mail, damn.
Yeah.
You took some money from PlayStation for that one.
So, also, in case you didn't hear about this, the Trump campaign website was hacked and defaced. And
they were trying to scam some crypto.
Right? The really interesting thing about this one is that the defacement on the website said that. Did you see that image?
Yeah.
It said that it had been seized, and it has the FBI logo, which is kind of, that's kind of an anonymous joke, kind of a hacker joke to deface a website with the So, and speaking of activist hacking, I really believe this was probably an activist hack. It could have been just a dude in Florida, but
I'm going to give this because they just did the about page and not the front page. I'm going to give this an activist hack trying to LARP as crypto scammers.
Yeah. I agree. So,
because if you have access to the about page, you have access to the front page.
Yeah, if depending on how it was hacked, that might have been the only URL that was common that they could access, depending on how they did it. Did they get access to the site and log into the back end where they had access to every page? Or,
it's probably a WordPress with admin as the password. No, that's something I would expect from a state senator's level, not the president's.
I would certainly,
page.
Yeah, I would certainly hope not. But here it is. Yeah, it has a Department of Justice and FBI logo, and it says this site was seized. And I think that the defacement message on it sounds very activist too, and there's little to no punctuation in this writing.
I know
nothing's in caps. This just has IRC troll kind of written all over it. So it the world has had enough of the fake news spreaded daily by President Donald J. Trump. Yeah. So
that's activist.
Yeah, seems like it to me, but we may very well find out at some point. So
it wasn't in the MIT article that you sent me, but I because I was having trouble getting the times to load, I went and I found the similar article over on MSN. Now this I don't know if it's true because Trump isn't this dumb. And I keep saying he's the Leslie Nielsen president who falls ass backwards into success.
Right.
But they're linking to another article where a security expert was able to hack Trump's Twitter account, didn't do anything in it, but he guessed the password is MAGA 2020.
Yeah, so that guy had hacked it in 2016, and MAGA 2020 was one of the, or something like that, was one of the passwords that he had suggested they use. Because I don't remember.
Oh, so it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. He said, you guys should really use this password because it's really super secure. And then hacked it.
Yeah, went back and tried it and got in. Yeah. But the campaign said that was not his password. You did not get in. This story's false.
Okay.
So that was
yeah, because MSN left that in there like that was a true story.
Well,
so that's why I was like, I want to bring this up because I don't remember this.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
Yeah. So, so the campaign said that the site was they got control of the site back in 30 minutes.
Right.
So it was only defaced for 30 minutes. That's how long.
Which, I mean, yeah, we talk about, hacktivists, but that's what Iran does. Iran does the defacement, because what we're going to be talking about here in a minute with the election hacks, that's Iran's MO, is to deface websites.
Yeah, absolutely. And they have been known to use and have been seen talking about WordPress exploits. Not that everybody doesn't know WordPress exploits, but they're somewhat focused on them, right? Most of the sites that they hacked back after the Soleimani thing were WordPress sites. So yeah. So that was pretty interesting. We thought we wanted to bring you that.
You want to go with perception hacks, or you want to go with DHS election plans?
Perception.
Okay.
Go.
Perception hacks are actually, this is when they were talking about the elections in 2016 being hacked. That was a perception operation.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on right now. You mentioned earlier on how Russia's been really quiet in the last few weeks with their fuckery as opposed to other nation states. And according to the DHS, they believe that that's because Russia is in a sit-and-wait pattern before they do perception hacks on election day. Now, what a perception hack is that it doesn't really need to cause widespread damage. You don't need to put a ransomware and shut down the entire state of Georgia's Board of Elections or California's Board of Elections. What you do is you find a small town in a swing state, and you do just enough to where it's perceived that the election is compromised in one way or another.
Yeah, it's a small hack that can create the perception of a much, much larger, more damaging, more dangerous hack.
Now, this is another one that we talked about, low risk, high reward. It's where, Atlanta's, I keep pointing to Georgia. Atlanta's Board of Elections may have a really, really, really secure website that Russia can't get into, though they probably have, and they're probably sleeping in it. But, Macon, Georgia, maybe not so much. So they cause a little disruption in the center of the state, and then that throws the whole state into question, one way or another.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a, I don't really know what to call it, but there was a little twinkling in my mind that this was what was going on with the Georgia election system in 2017. But the IP that hit it at that time, and it was late. It was right after the 2016 election, so it was before President Trump was inaugurated.
Yeah,
and it was DHS that actually tried to hack the site. Which of course,
right?
Yeah, which of course they made lots of excuses for, and worked it out with the governor, but who was the Secretary of State at the time. But I've always had my doubts about that. So
see, and in this election, now you heard me talk about a few weeks ago when I went down for my election training, talking about the machines I'm voting on. Now, one of the things I didn't mention at the time, and this article does mention, is that part of the DHS's strategy to hinder vote tampering, hacking, or whatever you want to call it, is what's called a diversity profile. And where that is that there are a wide variety of voting machines out there. So because you can get into 1 or 5 doesn't mean you can get into all 30.
Mm-hmm.
Or, even if you can leave the perception that you've gotten into them. And most of them aren't online anyway, so it's not a problem. But that's been the DHS's program with this one, is making it so there isn't one uniform voting machine across the entire country. Because if there is a zero-day exploit in it, you can be sure some state actor is going to be the one to find it.
Right, yeah, absolutely. So the theory is that Russia is going to sit out the actual election, wait till after the election when the votes are maybe almost certain or almost completed, and the result is almost certain, and then they're going to cause some kind of chaos. Now, of course, we've created a very elaborate theory that centers around the Russians with regards to what's going to happen with perception hacking.
Right. And other levels of it, they talk about Iran, and we mentioned earlier too, where their MO is vandalizing websites. That can create a perception of, well, shit, if they, shut down the website of the, state of Pennsylvania's Board of Elections, then, what else has been compromised there? And all they did was just change the web page. They didn't even actually have to hack anything more serious than a website.
Right. So this guy from the University of Michigan says that he has a laboratory where he's running, all these, he has, they called it an arcade of voting machines, where he's running attack simulations, and he has, created attacks that can spread from machine to machine like a computer virus and silently change election outcomes. This is the most
skeptical.
irresponsible thing that I've ever seen in print.
Right. Yeah, I'm skeptical because, knowing what our machines do, it's nothing more than a digital pin.
I would imagine.
All you're doing is just sitting there punching your selection on the screen, and then it prints it out for you and you walk it to the ballot box. There's nothing in it to swing a vote one way or another. Now, if he wanted to talk about counting machines, I'll listen, but that's not what he's talking about.
No, it's not. And he doesn't say what kind of machines. He doesn't say if they're the same machines that are used, or where they're used. And I think it's pretty clear, in order to spread from machine to machine, they would have to be interconnected. He has them all on the same network, and I don't know of a voting system that's set up that way.
It reminds me of that line from Outbreak when Dustin Hoffman's talking about, I've got 50 mice here and they're all dead. And Rene Russo's character says, of course they're all dead. You stuck them all with the same needle.
Right.
So
exactly.
Of course the virus is bad. So yes, you have all these machines interconnected. Of course you were able to spread the virus from machine to machine to machine.
Right, exactly. And the way that you described, your voting center, they're not connected.
Right.
And they're not connected to the internet. So,
I actually have a special card that I have to use because daylight savings time was this last weekend. Because even the manufacturer didn't know if the date would change or not.
Right.
So obviously this computer has not been connected to the internet for quite some time.
And some experts say that, the claim that the diversity of voting machines is protecting the election is fallacy. But if you don't have them connected to the internet, how,
Yeah, I am not concerned with voting machines in the least.
Neither is the FBI.
From the voting machine that we used to use to the voting machine we use now, neither of them really ever touched the internet. It's like I talked about the old machine we used. You basically would have had it changing votes. You would have to know who the election was going to be 20 years ago when the hardware was manufactured.
Yeah.
It was still using PCM-CIA cards, and if you don't know what that is, that's the old 24-pin card that you used to plug into a laptop so you'd have a modem.
Right. Yeah, so the guy does say, one of the cybersecurity experts is talking about scanning machines as well, which I think that those probably are more vulnerable and are interconnected.
I wouldn't know how interconnected they are. I mean, were I in charge of an IT department for a county, I would disconnect the scanning machines weeks from the internet. I would make sure they had all their updates and patches and they were ready to go, and then weeks before, and then not connect them again until well after the election.
Right.
Unless you had to do some sort of upload to the state. But even then, if I was in IT at a county, I would say, yeah, you know what, you're going to call that in. Do not connect the scanner to the internet. Say we are having hardware troubles. We can't get on the internet right now. Here's our totals, and we will email you the hard copy.
That's one of the ways that they suppress the vote in Georgia. The voting machines don't work.
Yeah.
By the way, according to our other governor.
Okay.
Right. So.
Yeah. I went on quite a little rant about voter suppression last night. But we don't need to talk about that.
I saw that, actually. Yeah, so then there's just there's so much speculation in this article. Oh, Jesus, from the New York Times. Imagine that.
Right.
About, well, maybe that's what Russia was trying to do in 2016, but we've already talked about how those were perception hacks. So,
right.
Why are you even? It's like these people are doing the work of our enemies.
Well, of course they are, because Orange Man bad.
Well, yeah, I suppose. Again, this is the times after all, but yeah. So they say malware, trick bots, a problem. And I believe that any of these things could be problems for our voting infrastructure, our election infrastructure. And, at any given time, we do this enough that we know that anything can be breached at any time.
Well, sure. Nothing is foolproof for a sufficiently talented fool. And, yes, it could be. But, and yeah, I'm discounting this story because what their argument on face is absurd. It's like we said, of course you were able to spread the virus from a variety of machines. They're all connected. And so a lot of this testing and it just... It's like you're looking to create a worst case scenario you're inventing a worst case scenario to say that there is a worst case scenario.
Yeah. It's kind of like that. And, there was a ransomware attack in Gainesville, Georgia last week. It took down this signature verification system. But it wasn't, the election systems weren't targeted, right? So they were collateral damage in the attack.
You know what I loved was, I think it was in Georgia too, where the 2FA was bogging down the system, so they just got rid of the 2FA, despite what DHS told them to do.
Yeah, the Secretary of State's office disabled two-factor authentication because the software was buckling.
Okay, well, you know what?
Because of demand.
Sure. But at that point, that's when you kind of have to ask yourself, okay, so you've just done away with all of your election security by fiat decree, so therefore you can claim you were hacked later.
Yep.
I took down my firewalls because, oh, holy shit, I got attacked. Who'd have thunk it?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, but I did like, we talked about what DHS is doing tomorrow and how they are prepared for it. And this article infuriated me because they kept saying, despite Trump's best efforts, Department of Homeland Security, who runs Homeland Security? That's an executive level department.
Yes.
So, but the fact that they've got regional centers ready to deploy anywhere, if necessary, that there's belief of a breach.
Well, the possibilities are good. Anytime you are that close to a potential, right? So it's just like, so basically, it's like a bank who has a SOC that runs a security operations center that runs on 24/7 and an incident response team that, you know, is on call 24/7, right? So there's always an incident response team to respond, and there's always someone in the security operations center.
Right.
And that's the way a lot of companies run, especially banks, right? Banks have been doing it probably longer, as long as anyone, if not longer, because you are always close to a potential breach if you're a bank.
Right.
Yeah. You're one move away.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and you know, and what the DHS's cybersecurity infrastructure, CISA, you know, what they have plans is they're going to be in constant communication with county officials and elections boards. Just reading through this, they are really on top of it for tomorrow.
Yeah. So you're looking at the DHS plans?
Yeah, the WAPO story.
Yeah, so the DHS plans on what to do. They do have a really impressive, more so than, and this is the thing, and just like you said, he will never get credit for it, and neither will any of his cabinet, right? So
Tom Wolf,
right, yeah, Chad Wolf is not going to get any credit for this, even though he runs DHS and it's a DHS program. And so if we get through tomorrow and nothing gets hacked, they're not going to get any credit.
No, they're just going to say that our election wasn't important enough to them to hack.
Oh,
no.
Yeah, right. That good luck trying to say that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You don't get to do 6 months of fear porn about hacked elections and then just say, "Oh, well, apparently we weren't important enough."
Right.
Yeah, GR, that's an important point. Most security failures and other types of failures are because some lazy person wanted something to be convenient.
Yeah, absolutely.
They turned off 2FA.
Exactly. And, I mean, you know, that's... Why would you assume that it's your 2FA and turn that off if your software is lagging? Why would that even... I don't understand how that would even be.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Sure, this security feature is slowing things down because you do have to punch in a number, you know, what's the basis for 2FA? Something you have and something you know. So you know your password, you have your phone, you have your device that you're putting in your 2FA code into. So yes, that's slowing it down one step.
Yeah, it's I think.
I mean, I don't know. Not having used the software, I don't know if it was just, you know, chewing on the spinning ball, waiting for the authentication to be authenticated. I don't know, but
yeah, I mean, I guess it could be.
Don't claim you care about election integrity when you're turning off security features.
Right. I mean, I can think of a whole lot of logical explanations for why it was causing them a problem that doesn't have anything to do with 2FA eating resources from the software. So that's why I'm a little bit skeptical. Like you said, it's making somebody's life difficult, so they turn it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
people are disenfranchised because they have to wait 5 more minutes. Yeah, they're the same people who are going to scream about hackers.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even I don't even know that cheap RAM would. Maybe they're using old Celeron processors in them. I don't know, but Yeah. I'm just not buying the excuse for shutting off the 2FA.
No, and it's well, I'm pretty disappointed in that little move, and I wonder who else in the government knew that he had done it besides just his little elections team there in the Secretary of State's office. Hope that nobody knew, but they shouldn't have done that. That was a very bad idea. And what happened? Ransomware.
And you know what? You don't announce you shut off the 2FA before the election.
Right.
I understand WAPO really wanted to get this story out about, I will give WAPO credit for trying to dial back the fear porn a little bit with the story, but then to basically telegraph an open port,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. DHS is on top of it. CISA, they're on top of their game. They're ready to respond anywhere. By the way, Georgia turned off their 2FA.
Yeah, well, I would hope that they have it turned back on by now. And
right.
If they don't, I'm not going to be real happy about that.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that pretty much wraps it up for us. I mean, except for the DHS plans and the 202, which we can talk about.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, okay, so DHS and CISA, which would CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, which we've talked about before, has a pretty comprehensive 24/7 virtual war room and field teams and all sorts of things set up to respond to any potential or suspected cyber incidents that might affect our election. And the interesting thing about this to me was that they expect this operation to run for days or weeks until the winners are clear in most races. And
that's a narrative that's really starting to drive me nuts with weeks. And, it's kind of what I said last night. Like, look, California's been doing mail-in voting for years. And we've got 40 million people. And yes, while it can take up to 2 weeks with really tight races, and those are usually like city council and dog catcher races. It's not the presidential election. It's not state senator or any representative usually. It's some city council thing. So yes, while it can, it almost never does. And I know you're going to say yes, but California is a deep blue state. That really doesn't matter though, in the respect that we pretty much have our federal elections done really damn quick.
Yeah.
With the tabulation.
Right. Yeah.
So when they keep saying, it could take up to weeks, no. You're not even lowering expectations. You're not managing expectations. You are doing fear porn of a different level because everybody remembers the Angling Chads, and they think that's what it's going to be this time too. It's not. It's going to be over relatively quickly.
I think people's minds do automatically go to that hanging Chad thing when somebody talks about, weeks and I've heard people say months. It could be months before we know, and we may not know by inauguration and all
hours.
Hours. If you can't, I don't care how many mail-in ballots you have. If you can't count them in a matter of a week, less than a week, even if you have, most states actually, and I looked at this, most states actually start before election day counting. There are a handful that don't, approximately a handful that don't, and even in Pennsylvania where they have millions and they haven't started, they don't start until the day of the election start counting. They expect to be finished by Friday, fully finished by Friday.
Okay, let's manage it. Pennsylvania is 13 million people. Los Angeles is 12 million people.
Right.
So, I mean, if an entire city can get it done, anyway,
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you, but I think that even when you get down to the states who are complaining about having to do it and saying that it's going to take them a while, when you pin them down to a day, they say Friday. We will be finished by Friday. But they keep, the fear porn pushers keep saying weeks or months, or we may not know until inauguration. We may not know before inauguration, or, all this crazy stuff about Pelosi being president. It's just pure insanity. And beyond that, there are times when, and there are candidates where we don't know for a week or two or more every year. Yeah, there's always straggler races every year. So, and recounts. How many recounts did they do in 2018? It was
so many.
It's so many. So,
especially in your state.
Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah,
they did a few. They
and Stacey never did concede.
No, and she never will. She will go to her grave thinking that she was our current governor. But this gets to the heart of what the New York Times is doing with all of this stuff. Wait, is this the Times or WAPO?
No, it's WAPO.
Okay, both of them. See, they're saying that the Cyber Infrastructure Security Agency has grown in the past 4 years. But then they say CISA's growth is especially notable because it has happened despite an abiding lack of interest in election security from President Trump. He has held only one cabinet-level meeting on the topic during his presidency and generally views discussion about Russian interference as threatening the legitimacy of the 2016 victory over Hillary Clinton. Even though there's no evidence, actual votes were changed. So this is an executive level agency working hand in hand with the Department of Homeland Security, another executive level agency, to get this done. None of this would be happening if Trump were not supportive of it. CISA would not have grown this much if Trump was not supportive of it.
And those of us who operate in an adult world where people expect results,
right?
Not, say, a reporter for WAPO,
right.
But, people. Generally, we only need to be told by our boss to do something once. Hey, Chad, I want you to beef up CISA. I want to make sure that the next election runs smoothly and you have enough people in place to get the job done and to be on site if something goes wrong. Okay. That's the end of the conversation. That's the only conversation you need to have when you're an adult.
Yes. Exactly.
So, he's only talked about it at the cabinet level position once. Why? Why would he need to do it more than once? You know what? Okay, I take it back. Twice. Chat. We all set for the election tomorrow? Yeah, boss. Okay, great. That's it.
Right. Exactly.
What? That is the most asinine paragraph. Anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So. Yeah, but they did make a point, and CISA said it, is that with the lack of Russian activity, they're probably keeping their powder dry until tomorrow or the days after.
Yeah. So, CISA is part of the Department of Homeland Security. This is all run by Chad Wolf. He will never get any credit for this whatsoever. And just for instance, the footer of their website, the last three links are DHS, The White House, USA.gov.
Well, and here's the other thing, too. It's like in this article, they have a picture of Chris Krebs, the header of CISA.
Uh-huh.
Boy, does he look angry in that photo.
Oh, really?
Scroll about halfway down.
Oh, really?
That's not a really good photo of Chris. So, is while they're praising CISA, they're making it look like, here's an angry man in charge. Here's an angry white man. Anyway. I know. I pick up on those things. The photo that the
well, they do them. I mean,
yeah.
They definitely do them. So,
yeah. Anyway, so DHS, CISA's on top of it. DHS is on top of it as best as you could expect a government agency to be. My expectations are low, but I don't think I think we're good. I think we're good for tomorrow. I know in my county we are.
Yeah, I don't think that I don't think that we're going to see anything hacked and votes changed.
No.
I feel like this is what worries me. People not listening to DHS, like the dude in Georgia,
right?
Are people who aren't paying attention. I mean, there's just like so many. I think we have more to fear from domestic fraud than we do from foreign state actors hacking the vote. I think that a lot of this is just
and that and disinformation too, with the fact that it's like in the article they talk about how CISA has they will have people ready to update the press at a moment's notice if anything does occur. That's great until you hit the social media level.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, we're rampant voter suppression in Pennsylvania. No, one guy didn't initialize the card for the voting machine correctly, and somebody had to bring it back to get it reinitialized.
Yeah, well,
it's kind of, that shit.
The DHS Twitter account is not afraid to yell at the press, so that might be fun to watch. They will yell at the press. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So that may be fun to watch. But, all right, so don't worry.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
don't worry about it. You see it on social media, please, if you listen to us and you see any fuckery on social media, yell at them.
Yeah.
Shout them down. Just say, no, that's not possible.
Yeah,
because generally 9 times out of 10, what you're going to see somebody spouting on social media, it just isn't possible.
Yeah, I think we can expect some shenanigans like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing that might be interesting to watch.
Right. Well, unfortunately, I won't be able to watch any of it. As much as I can from my phone.
That's right, because you'll be busy.
I will be busy. In fact, we got to wrap this up. I have got to get up in very few hours because I have to report at 6 a.m. and set my machines up.
Okay, well, tell us where you'll be this week, and we'll let you go.
Yeah, well, tomorrow I'll be sitting my ass in a hard metal chair for 13 hours helping people vote, and it's my pleasure to do it. Wednesday, I will be on Robinson and Wright, temporarily named Robinson and Horty, as Dan is still essential. And Thursday, I will be on Culture Shift with Brad as we turn our skeptical eye on the entertainment industry. And I'm sure we're going to be talking a lot about celebrity fuckery tomorrow and today, because you're already seeing all the celebrities come out with their god-awful opinions.
Yeah.
I like the world when we just mocked it's how telling it was that Taylor Swift hadn't spoken out about X topic. Now she's actually doing it. Fuck you, 2020.
I know,
anyway,
right?
That's where I am this week. Where are you at?
Nowhere that I know of until I'm back here with you on Monday. I'm producing Aggie tomorrow at 9, the girls.
I'm pretty sure they're going to be doing election shows all day tomorrow.
Oh, good. Then I got the day off. Wednesday with the red wine at 9 p.m. And back here with you on Monday. So I'm just going to be hunkered down watching the news. That's all I'm going to be doing. So.
All right. You know what? I'd make myself available if I were you, in case Rick needs to call you up for. Hey, we got reports of cybersecurity fuckery in Indiana. Lou,
I'll clear my calendar.
There you go.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
I won't be available too. Please do.
Thanks for joining us, everyone, for this extended edition of Cyber Wars. Go vote.
Oh, great. We love you.
Go vote. Don't worry about the hacking. We'll let you know if something happens. And love y'all. Good night.